warm introduction. The truth is, my friends, we are in a moment of convergence. We're in a movement moment. And what I mean by that is that there are times in history when a lot of people in different walks of life find themselves responding to a need for a better life, and these things happen at about the same time, and those things propel them to action, and it means that if we get leadership during those times, we can make transformative change that can change this country for generations. But if we don't seize the moment, people they can get cynical, they can feel as though things are not going to change, and people will simply devolve into different directions, which doesn't lead them to a better place. An example of a movement moment was like in the 1960s, for example, when you had Rachel Carson writing the great book Silent Spring, kind of waking up the environmental movement. And then at the same time, you had Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement demanding equal justice for people, saying, look, we pay full taxes, but we can't even sit on the bus. That's crazy. We can't tolerate that. And at the same time, you have people who are coming back from Vietnam saying, why are we here and what are we doing here? And we can't fight this crazy, no-account, wasteful war in terms of lives and treasure. And you had women saying, you know what, I just got through building the industrial base of this country to defeat Hitler, in the form of Rosie the Riveter, and I'm not going to be relegated to second-class status no more. And you had women, you had people in the rural community, you had senior citizens. They started something called Gray Panthers. Yeah. And they came together, and all these movements happened at the same time, and then we set some things in motion which these right-wingers are still trying to destroy. The war on poverty actually was a tremendous success. The EPA, signed by Nixon, tremendous success. The Clean Water Act, tremendous success. We have made it so that the likes of Donald Sterling, that guy who says he doesn't want to see black people at the basketball game, these people got to be embarrassed, whereas if it was 1950 and he said that, everybody would say, well, yeah, what's wrong with that? Am I right or wrong? Right. My point is, we have made the bigots embarrassed and have to explain, as opposed to them being able to say what they want about whoever they want, however they want. We have made it so that women do not have equality, but they have enough people that if we work at it now, we can make a tremendous stride because people are starting to really get it. We went from a time where, you couldn't, if you were a gay or lesbian person, you could not hope to hold your even head. You couldn't even say who you are or what you were. You had to be in the shadows, literally in the closet is what we call it. And now, it's, there were some courageous judges in Iowa who paid a price. They paid a price for it, but still, we've now gotten the government out of the business of marital matchmaking, which is like a good idea. Maybe it's your business who you want to get married to, I think, if you're grown and want to do what you want to do. But we're in a movement moment now, and we have got to seize the moment that we're in. And let me just tell you, we're still in a tough battle. Some of you are thinking, movement moment, I don't know, Keith, we got record inequality. Yeah, it's true. We have stagnating wages. The Tea Party shut down our government. We got skyrocketing income inequality. They've attacked the right to organize through the Supreme Court. The Harris versus Hincks case was terrible. We've got to fight that. We have to fight for the right to a fair wage, and we have to prevent carbon pollution from choking us off as the EPA is trying to do. There are battles, and we know there are. But right now, today, the argument, the case is not, the problem is not about income inequality. The problem today is a problem of what we're going to do about it.
Right.
That's the issue. The problem is what we're going to do about it. And being here with you all today at CCI, being in this moment with you, I know that you're ready to do something about it. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. Because no matter what the Tea Party says, no matter what the Koch brothers do, And no matter what any of these guys say, you cannot keep the people down for long. The people are going to rise up, they're going to stand up, and they're going to join together. You know, and I just got to tell you, you know, we actually have an easier job than the right wing. Some of y'all are surprised to hear me say that. Our job's easier than their job. What they're trying to do is get a majority of the electorate, which is different from the majority of the people. The majority of the electorate to support a program that supports only the 1%. And what are we doing? We're trying to get a majority of the electorate to support a program that helps everybody. Right? So we should be winning this, right? We should be winning this thing. We have to convince a majority to help the majority, and they got to help the majority to help only a tiny bit of the minority. Now, that's their challenge. Think about this. They've got to suppress the vote. They've got to divide the vote. They've got to confuse the people. They've got to, of course they're pushing for voter suppression. Of course they want photo ID. Are you surprised about this? Of course they're doing these things. How else could they possibly get their grip on power? Of course they're trying to tell you and I that our biggest problem is whether two guys who live in apartment 348A are married or not. What are they doing up there? They want you and me to worry about that like that is our problem, like that is even our concern. They want you and me to be concerned. They want to tell you, oh, you know, those people over across the street, they could be Muslims. They might be Muslims, you know. They want you to get out there and protest their house of worship as if we don't have a constitutional amendment that says people can worship as they want to in America.
That's right.
You got a problem with that? Take it every time, Jefferson. They want you and I to not be together. They like to use racial code. Even though African Americans and whites and Latinos and Asians have been living in this country together for a very long time, you know we've been living here together for a long time. They want us to see that as a barrier. They literally want a white person to see him or herself in Mitt Romney as like being in some sort of solidarity based on skin color. They want you to believe that you and the Koch brothers are like in because tight because of that. It's absurd and ridiculous, and you and I both know it. The bottom line is, if you think about it, unity has got to be where we're coming from nowadays. We've got to find every single way to come together without regard to color, culture, without regard to age. You know, the age, they try to divide us along age lines. They're telling young people, oh, don't count on Social Security, because you know the older people are trying to take it up. They're using up all the money, and Social Security's going to run out, you're not going to get it. So you got to throw grandma under the bus. Sorry. You know, these Republicans like to talk about having an adult conversation. Oh, you mean tell my grandmother she can't have Social Security? That's what you call an adult conversation? That's not like a childish conversation to me. So this is the age we're in. We've got to come together. We've got to be clear on what our interests are. And we've got to move. And that is what you are doing here at CCI. That's what we're trying to do. I want to talk to you about how you got diverse people in diverse parts of this country who all are responding to a similar dynamic, and we need to have a national and even international narrative to defeat it. And if we can do this, we can change this country for generations to come. If we can do it, we can overcome, because you know what? Our superior numbers overcomes their superior dollars.
That's right.
Only if we're organized. No organization, then we're going to stay in this moment where we're mad about factory farms, we're mad about student debt, we're mad about gender inequality, we're mad, and we just end up being nihilistic. You end up having movements where regular working people end up going down the wrong path and not doing anything to help themselves. As if holding on to a gun is the most important thing ever. And everything else is secondary to that. I mean, that's a sign that a working class person is getting it wrong. But you know what? When somebody gets it right and gets it moving, that kind of thing is contagious. That kind of clarity is contagious, and you will find yourself winning friends all over the country when this happens. I want to talk to you about some people around this country who are doing some awesome things, because I know you at CCI who are doing awesome things want to know, are we alone? Is Iowa an island and we're the only progressive people? Well, you know, it might feel good for a moment, but it actually gets scary the moment after that. It might feel good to know that, hey, we're awesome, we're kicking down doors, but it might be kind of scary to think that we're the only ones kicking down doors. I think you would want to know, but I want to tell you first about yourselves a little bit. Vanessa Marcano. Was Vanessa here today? There she goes. Vanessa went to a CCI training and learned some good stuff, and then began to work with some people. And Vanessa helped organize low-wage workers to win back over $200,000 in stolen wages. This practice known as wage theft comes in a lot of forms, but really what it ultimately means is they might say they're going to pay you $725, which is a pittance, but they really only paid you about $675 because they stole some of your money. Right. Now, I believe that a penny earned is a penny that absolutely must be paid. So thank you to CCI and Vanessa for your excellent work. What you're doing is spreading. People all over the country know that you're working hard at it, and we're not going to stop. I went to a little meeting the other day, a minute ago, and she's over here spreading out petitions, trying to get the city of Des Moines to adopt a policy that says that if you're cheating workers, you're not the kind of contractor we want working for us. Yeah. Now, you know what? Good, decent, honest contractors to give our money to. Thank you very much. Am I right about that, Vanessa? Yeah, you know. And so, look, you know, we take our lead from smart people, right? So the Progressive Caucus, which I'm the co-chair of, we've been doing our own anti-wage theft stuff ourselves. And so we've introduced now, we're in the appropriations period now, where the money, this is where we write the spending bills nowadays. That's the season we're in. And so on the first bill, I introduced the anti-wage theft bill, which said that if you want a federal contract, oh, and by the way, the United States government is the biggest spender of money in the world, right? So it's a good thing if you want to make some money to get a federal contract, right? And they're lucrative, and we don't need to put up with people who are giving us a bunch of nonsense. That's right. So we on the first appropriations bill, we did our amendment, and it actually didn't pass. Every Democrat voted for it, but we only got 11 Republicans to vote for it. Only 11 of our Republican colleagues knew that standing with the wage thieves was not that hot of an idea. But the second time we brought the amendment, we got it passed on a voice vote. We didn't ask for a recorded vote, we just wanted to try it again. On the third one, you know, we're bold and bodacious, so we passed it on a voice vote, and then we said, we want a recorded vote. Who's on the side of the people and who's not? We want to know. They said, well, you just passed, you just won it. Just take good enough along. No hiding, no hiding. Come on out, declare a side. So we got a vote, all the Democrats voted for it, and 25 Republicans voted for it, and it passed. So the biggest bill, if you are a wage cheater and a thief, you can't get none of that. Now we got to work it in the Senate. If you guys want to talk to your senators about supporting it, that'll be a good thing. But we got it through, and we got it through with bipartisan support. So then, now we come up with the last one, which was just last week. Just last week, Thursday, right? Thursday, we get another one of our amendments, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, up until that, has never, ever weighed in. And then they put together a letter that they send to all 435 members of Congress saying, vote no on the Ellison Amendment against wage theft. And it's called the Ellison Amendment, but it's really the Progressive Caucus Amendment. So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce thinks that it's better, rather than go to your constituent members and say, you know, don't steal your workers' money, that's not that good. They want to fight with our amendment. Nice. But not just them, 5 other corporate groups say, oh no, vote no on Ellison Amendment. But guess what? We passed it anyway. I guess enough Republicans. Oh, and they can't, okay, I gotta tell you a full story, full disclosure. We let it pass on voice vote this time. I'm gonna tell you why we did it that way, because we want to solidify it. Because when we do it again, we want to say, you know, it passed 4 times in a row, now you're gonna say no, right? Because we're not done pulling everybody up to the line and seeing who's who and what's what. And I want to get a recorded vote with all these right-wing corporate groups opposing us, because that'll teach them that there's a new sheriff in town and it's not them. So we're going to need your help with it. And I know you're working at the grassroots. Is that right, CCI? That's right. So you guys are doing wonderful things, and you know, I learned a lot about these corporate farms. You know, I was talking to Lori a little bit. She was telling me about this problem with all these pigs y'all got around here. And some of them got 4 legs and some of them got 2.